Great loans available for qualified buyers. Interest rates low and competitive right now. Now's the time to buy. Get a new RV for as low as $561 a month.
So you've seen the ads, but it's that last one that always gets me. How can a payment of less than $600 a month be possible with such an expensive vehicle? I spent twice that each month on my house loan, and that took years to pay off. And that's on something that's got a big kitchen, multiple bedrooms, bathrooms, lots of bathrooms. Value that increases every year. An RV loses up to 20%, something like that, 20% of its value the second it drives off the lot. That means that $100,000 RV you just bought is only worth about $80,000 driving a few feet.
Forget the money. The payments are low, and you'll have years of travel and enjoyment to look forward to. It's worth the investment.
That may be true, but what's the actual investment? You got dealer fees, taxes, oh yeah, that pesky loan to pay off. Wait a second. How much interest do you pay on those long-term loans?
Quit worrying. It's only $560 a month.
Quiet, you. It's a good question to ask yourself. A loan may seem reasonable and the monthly payment's affordable, but how much money do you spend in the end? So I did some research, like I always do. I found a couple of dealers that had loan calculators, and guess what I found out? Most had terms of either $120 or even $240 a month. That's 20 years paying off a loan on something that won't be worth half as much in 5 years. No wonder they can advertise such low payment plans.
Yeah, but...
I said quiet. I'm by no means a financial advisor, just someone interested in getting an RV the best way possible and the least financial pain. So to figure out the real cost of loans, I had to make some assumptions, like how much to spend on an RV, and what kind of down payment, and what's the interest rate, and all those other things. Now an RV sells for a range of prices, so I had to pick a price and just go with it. I know dealers like to charge additional fees, so I added that into the cost. Some dealers charge more, others less, and how much you pay depends on how good you are at bargaining. Sales tax varies from state to state, so I just added what seemed like a good average. Take this into account when purchasing in your state. So in this example, the tax is $7,000 for the total $100,000 you're paying for the RV and the associated fees. If you decide to tack on extra items like shiny wheels or spot treatments or whatever, the cost goes up, including what you pay in tax. I decided on a 20% down payment because many loans charge more interest, substantially more, if you don't pay at least 20%. Now, what do I mean by substantially? 1%.
Ha! There's nothing.
What part of quiet do you not understand? Now, you may be laughing right now, just like, well, him. You, like him, are thinking only 1%.
There's nothing.
And that's where you're wrong. Very, very wrong. And just wait, you'll see. So the total amount of the loan, the principal, in this example is $85,000. Not an unreasonable assumption for a large expense like buying an RV. I'll probably need a loan like that myself, since I don't happen to be one of the elite with $100,000 just lying about. But I digress. Loans generally are based on compound interest, which basically means they're going to charge you interest on the interest. And that tends to happen each month. That means you get charged not only for the amount of the loan, but for the amount of interest that's been added onto the loan each month. Oh joy. I found some average RV loan rates on a Good Sam Finance Center website that varied based on the term of the loan and a whole bunch of other factors. I'm sure there are many examples on the internet, but hey, I have better things to do with my time. Your mileage may vary. In short, the longer the term of the loan, how long before you pay it off, the higher the percentage rates. For whatever reason, borrowing less also meant higher rates. Go figure. In addition, purchasing RVs older than 2008 would also increase the rate by 1/4%, while purchasing a truck camper increased it by an entire percentage point. With all these factors, I estimated rates could be anywhere from about 4.5% to 9% or more, so I tried to find a reasonable average and decided 5% seemed a fair guesstimate and a kind of a starting point. I'll show you later what happens when this percent goes up, and you'll want to wait for that. There are costs with everything we do, be they monetary or otherwise. Anything I say is based on loan calculations I got from the internet research and may be a little off, but as far as I can tell, they're pretty close to the mark. Now, some people, like the RV dummy, espouse a philosophy of never getting a loan. I believe this can be a good advice if you don't manage money well or you already have a debt load. But borrowing in and of itself, as far as I'm concerned, isn't necessarily bad. Just my opinion. Unless we are independently wealthy, we all do it when we buy a home or a new car. It only gets bad if you don't understand what the real costs are and plan accordingly, based on your income, your budget, your financial stability. And that's why I'm making this video, to see what those costs can really be and how they can eat at budgeting plans you've made for a secure future. So let's have at it. Let's look at this 20-year loan first. Right off the bat, I'm going to say it. Don't do it. A loan this long on something that loses value is a losing proposition. Remember, I'm not including costs that you incur just by owning and driving that motorhome around. You're going to have repair bills and oil changes, fuel to pay, and that's just in addition to the loan. With this in mind, let's look at the monthly payment.
Well, that's not so bad.
You're right. But let's look at how much you have to pay for that $85,000 loan after 20 years. Not looking so good now, is it? You paid almost $50,000 in interest alone. To put that another way, you could have bought another half of an RV with that interest.
Yeah, well,
Now let's compare that to a 10-year loan. First, the monthly payment has gone up. You now have to pay over $900 each month, but the amount you pay back, a little over $23,000, less than half the 20-year loan. I did a 3-year loan chart as well. This is probably the one I'm going to have to get. It has higher monthly payments, over $2,500 a month, but that interest you pay back, less than $7,000. That's less than a third of the 10-year loan and less than a fifth of the 20-year loan. Now, I'm not telling you to get a loan or not. What I'm saying is loans cost more than you think, and you have to be realistic on what those actual costs are and how you're going to pay them back. Think of it this way. You may very well be able to afford $2,500 a month for that loan. Great. But what happens if the unthinkable happens? You get very sick and incur high medical expenses, or a storm damages your roof and you now have to find a way to pay for that hole, causing water damage in your attic. You need to think about future expenses when making decisions on loans. It may be a 10-year loan is the only way to get that RV, but be cognizant of that interest you end up paying for. It may not be worth the cost. Now, I promise to talk about loans that charge more interest than the 5% I've estimated so far. That top row is the 5% interest we've already seen. The 20-year loan is paying $2,481.55 a year, which means you pay $49,630.97 in total interest. That's the almost $50,000 I talked about. Look what happens when we increase that percentage by only 1/4%. You pay almost $3,000 more in interest. And if we go to the entire percentage point to 6%, you pay almost $12,000 more than that 5% interest. That's insane. If you take out a 10-year loan, half the term of the 20, you pay more a month, but lots less in interest. At 5.25%, you pay a little over $1,200 more than the 5%, and at 6% interest, you pay a little over $5,000 more. Not as much as the 20-year loan, but still a lot. The 3-year loan looks better, just under $350 more for a 5.25% loan, and just under $1,400 for a 6% loan. The point of all this is, even very small percentage differences mean a big change in total payments. And the longer your term is for, the more you pay in the long run. Look, I'm not here to discourage anyone from getting a loan, but you need to think before you leap. Something seemingly insignificant, like a percentage point, can add up quick. Any motorhome purchase is a huge investment, and loans for one doubly so. You need to make sure interest or the term isn't going to hurt you in the long run. Loan costs need to be balanced based on your budget, your expenses, and your financial goals. You don't want to end up with a loan burden that destroys any enjoyment you may get from the RV, or worse, gets you in debt for the rest of your life. Knowing what you're getting into empowers you. It puts you in the driver's seat and gives you the knowledge to make the best decision for your needs. That knowledge puts you in control of your finances and your destiny. So keep pushing for your dreams, and always remember, if the roads of life were a straight path, we'd all fall asleep at the wheel. Be seeing you.